Hello everybody, Darren here, and welcome back to Satisfactory. Now in the last couple of episodes, I've been spending my time acquiring a large amount of oil from Blue Crater and shipping it all the way up here to the west of the map where my oil processing facility is. And then we've been using that oil to expand the power infrastructure to position us better for what's to come into Tier 8. Now in between episodes, I've been building up the factory aesthetics a little bit. You know, it was an open air sort of thing with fuel generators just out on some foundations. I've now encapsulated it into its own rooms, added a few walkways, some windows, that sort of thing, just to make it more pleasant for us to get around. But the logistics have stayed in place. Now on the right side of the screen, we have our to-do list for today. We're going to be building an oil room, or a pipe room really, that's going to feed the pipes down from where the train station is into the fuel generator. So I didn't want to do that between scenes. I thought it was important to show you dividing that stuff up. We're then going to take a change from the original plan, which is I'm going to overclock the fuel generators that we have instead of building a 3-story fuel generator sort of factory. I know some people were kind of excited about that, and I was too, because the plan was to build it high and actually connect it over to the cliffs, which might happen in the future, but for now, it makes much more sense just to overclock what we have, especially for the pipe logistics. We're then going to do the pipe management, and then we're going to scout our locations for where I'm going to build an AI and oscillator factory. I've got a location in mind, a general rough area based on deposits and things like that, but not actually a specific like where the foundation's going to go just yet. So this place has changed just a little bit since I was here last. I've effectively expanded out 2 foundations, so it might look really similar, but it's actually slightly bigger than it used to be. And that was just to house a few of the extra walkways. I was going to build initially a long hall that goes down here, but instead, this is all just one big room now called refinement, because it's all refineries. And that's where we have our plastic and various other things. Now, what we did in the last episode was I built or positioned 40 refineries. 40 refineries that are all set to doing just fuel. And what that means is that they produce, well, they take in crude oil, 60 crude oil each, and output 40 fuel each, as well as, I think, 20 polymer resin. So we can see, kind of, the mergers here underneath, just carrying out the polymer resin into a very temporary, awesome sink right now. Obviously, we want to use that polymer resin probably to make rubber in the future, and we'll talk about that a bit later. So just really quickly to do some of the math here, we have 40 of these machines making 40 fuel each. So that's 1,600 fuel, which is coming out of here. And we've actually got room for a little bit more, and these are all the generators. So of course now I've put lights in place, the generators are all in big long lines, and there's 50 generators here total, all being fed from one pipe of 600. And that's why I was thinking, oh my god, we're going to build several floors of these, because I'm only using 15 of the 40 machines that we have. 15 of the refineries making fuel are feeding 50 fuel generators. Now, what we can do instead is overclock these generators so that they're worth 3 times or 2.5 times the amount that they are currently using. So for instance, right now, they produce 150 megawatts of power. If we throw in 3 power shards, max it out to 250%, we're now producing 375. So it's a huge leap. But we're also consuming 30 fuel per minute, as opposed to previously it was just 12. And that creates a bit of a logistical change for how the pipes are going to be laid out. If I'm going to overclock all of these machines, which is the plan, we need to divide up our pipe structure because our pipes can only handle 600 each. So we'll get to all that, but I just wanted to lay out that is the plan. So try to slow down a bit and just take it now bit by bit. So if you're in any way lost, stick with me and it'll all make sense. So upstairs here, this is where the oil comes in via rail and then gets just stationed there. In fact, let's just fly up and have a very quick look at it. This is what we built in the previous episode, effectively. We'll just fly up with our jetpack, hover pack. Right, so the 13 platforms all have their own fluid buffers, and then they're all connected into the appropriate pipes. So every pipe is doing 600, except for the last one, which is only doing 150. So its pipe can only hold 300, but what's actually going to be in there per minute is 150. Based on the deliveries that we're getting. So watch the previous episode, you want to know why that is. Anyways, so these first 4 pipes are the ones that are most important to me because they're doing 600 each. We know that a row of 10 refineries takes 600. So we're going to divide up all of our pipes into each to have its own row. And the one on the end can just do something else in the future. But let's get just started with that. So that's where we're starting off today's episode. sorting out the pipes so that each pipe is handling the full 600 and then feeding correctly into 10 machines. So pretty simple. We're just going to pull this straight down, set it to horizontal to vertical. And sometimes this has an issue, so I'm just going to actually do the pipe supports first. I'll just back off. It's the center of every foundation because I evenly spaced them out. Just like that. And we'll do it here as well. And I'll keep going. I'll stick with the supports just for the moment. Just keep putting all the supports down. That way we can just connect all the pipes up in a very satisfying way. And is that it? That is it. Okay, so what's going to have to happen here then is just going to cut the pipes away underneath. Now I'll turn on the flashlight. Apologies that it is nighttime. Shouldn't last too long. Okay, so this is the row that we want to connect up with. So the only other interesting logistical issue here is that a row of 10 takes one oil pipe. But the row of the fuel pipe, if we want to get 600 fuel, we actually need 15 machines. So not 20. That's why these 5 are actually off at the moment. You can see that they're yellow, not green. So they're not on right now. I've toggled them off purposefully. But just in case you're wondering, like, that's a little interesting thing, that these two pipelines that are separate underneath, they actually have to kind of merge and separate in their own unique way at the end. But we'll get to that later, I guess. Alright, so we have our 600 going into 10 machines. That's fine. We need another 600 pipe here going into 10 machines. In order to do that, we need the spacing for our pipes to all fit along one foundation. And you can just about do that like this. So there's 4 pipelines all on one foundation. It's kind of clipping into the wall, but not clipping out of the wall, which is more important, I think. Alright, so let's work with this. So in order to get this to hook up, we'll just drag this all the way down to the very end one. And we know that it's in the center of a foundation here. And it's basically like there. So we'll go 1, 2, and then just join it in. Yep, so that's that one hooked up. Do the same again. Just drag it all the way down until we get to our next line. And then we go 1, 2. And then we just hook it in. Alright, and just one more to go. This will be the baby pipe. This only needs to be a Mark 1 pipe, actually, so I might just quickly change it, refund some of that plastic that's used for the Mark 2 pipes, and that'll just also make me visually remember, yes, it's only taking 300 ever, you know. Really, it's taking 150, but it's just a delineation between the two. Alright, so let's hook these up then. Horizontal to vertical mode still selected. Just slam you in there. Just gonna hop onto the hover pack real quick. Lets me kind of see what I'm doing a bit better. Okay, that's hooked up, so we'll just grab this one down from here. And now we can just focus on pipeline Mark 2. So again, hook this up together. In you go. This will actually start some of these machines immediately, I think, if we hook them, once we hook them up, because they're toggled on. Alright, almost done. So that's all of our pipes hooked up to the top floor finally. They're all traveling along here. That's 4 in a row, and then they stop right here. So we'll just cut away this. I'll just take off the jetpack for a moment, to the hover pack. I'll cut this away as well. So we need to kind of come up here and feed along to the next set of machines. So we need to feed here, and then one on the very end. Alright, so this one's obviously easy. This will just hook it back up to get it working again. Just like that, it's done. Now we need to get one that's here. This is a little bit more awkward the way it has to turn, I suppose, to get into it. So you want it to go like that, and then up. Maybe the best way to do it is just to do this. And then get that to come over. So let's see, it's about there. I don't know if that's too weird of a turn for it. It looks like it is. Oh, not from this way though. So it just goes straight and down, and yeah, that's fine, right? That's totally fine. Okay, great. So that's the next set of 10 refineries hit with another 600 oil. So another 600 oil coming this way. And we could just get it to join its little buddy there, and then come up like so. And we'll bring this all the way to the end and get it to join there. So that's to be straight, has to be here. And in it goes. And then the one on the very end is going to have to come all the way down here and be used at a later date, because I haven't actually added the final 3 additional machines yet. And I don't really know if I'm going to. I probably will, but just... it's a problem for another day, basically. I'm not going to do it immediately, because we don't need to. Alright, so we'll just leave that there. So that's kind of marked as like, hey, you got to do something with that in the future. Now, just really quickly, I'm a sucker for my color. I like to color these pipes with their golden trim. So we'll just do that. Whoops. Try to just do that kind of quickly. I know I'm hemmed in here on all sides. But we'll get some distance and look back on it in just a second. Alright, looking pretty good. So there's no more joints until all the way down here. Yeah, looking good. Alright, the last thing then is just I wanted to color the center of these. I just thought it looked kind of cool to actually show a bit more of the yellow pipe. Okay, so there we go. So just as a quick reiteration, that's our 5 pipes, 4 of them at 600, 1 at 150, coming down, all with the same sort of color trim. Looks like the sun is rising now, at least as well. Going underneath, all following the same sort of foundation, flowing along this way, and then breaking off into their respective rows, as it were. So we'll just get this to reconnect back up, and to go back outside, just reconnect this. So I'll need to get the angled thing, wall, this one. So we'll change it to steel. And there we go. And that's just because the floor rises, right? So I thought it'd be good to have an angle that actually looks like it makes sense, rather than just a harsh cut between suddenly, I don't know, it goes up a floor. Anyway, it looks a little bit better that way. So what we'll do here, just super quick, let's just grab this, this, and this. Tell it to go away. We'll grab one of these, change it to floor with a barrier. I'll just cross that over like here. Hey, what's going on there? You've only got 15 rods, yet you need 20. How are you still able to build? You caught me. I've been using creative mode. Not in my actual save file. I've actually just been using it when I'm streaming to fly around and show people different things, and also design some blueprints and stuff that I'll use in the actual Let's Play later. Now, this clip here is probably the culprit. I was on Steam Next Fest demos and I was flying around at the end of the stream showing off the world and stuff like that. Now, before that, I had been doing all the aesthetics for the oil processing plant, so I must have continued and saved it, even though I actually did activate creative mode. For those wondering, it's the pack utility mod. I use it to fly around and get cutscenes and things like that. And then, again, I do experiment in creative mode to see kind of what I'm going to be dealing with later on down the line. Now, I just thought it was worth pointing out and addressing, because inevitably people might see that and wonder, like, am I cheating the whole time or whatever? And I actually think it's totally fine to cheat in this game. I don't care what people do, and I don't care if other YouTubers do it or anything, and I would tell you if I did. And anytime I have, or whatever, I've always been upfront with it. The main reason I don't is because so many people tell me that they play this game following along my series, and I'd hate to be spawning in so many items to the point where that person was like, I don't have what he has. Like, how did that happen? So I would never leave people behind. So you'll always know that anything I ever build with, I've either made or... And trust me, I spend a lot of time hauling stuff across the map. A lot of people want me to build a storage facility, and for a long time I didn't really think I needed one, but I'm starting to think I do, because the time it takes to get back and forth between places and the volume of goods that you need, it's not enough to really store it all up in my inventory. But that's why later in this episode you'll see me moving trucks and stuff, and then I realized right at the end of the episode, I was like, wait a second, I'm in creative mode, like I was in it the whole time. So what I'm going to do is, it was only iron rods that I didn't have on me that I built a few tiny things with. I'm just going to delete like 50 iron rods and we'll call it quits, yeah? Alright, just thought I'd catch people up on that. Let's continue. Then we need to get the flat one. And then the barrier one more time. Okay, so that's a little cordoned off area for when we go inside here. So I'll just make a wall really quickly. Like I said, the to-do list says it's a room. This should be encapsulated as a room. It might actually have to expand out the back eventually, because we do have a platform right above here anyway, so it makes sense that this shouldn't just be empty space. You know, you'd need pillars for support. Probably will be an expansion to another room or something in the future, but for now we just leave it like this. And And then I'll chop away at it to make, what's it called, like doors and stuff in a moment. And windows. I haven't really planned out how this room will look, so I'm just going by the seat of my pants here. So this will be one of the ways in. So this needs to be a door. And then, yeah, I don't know. What do we got? 1, 2, 3. Maybe this could be just a big window. Yeah, that could look cool. I'll just make it the full frame window. Looking pretty good. I just want to do one thing with this door. Let's just move it there for a second. Probably going to turn it so it's like that. Yeah. And that way, I don't know, it just looks like it's more central to this wall, if that makes sense. Not that it really matters. Anyway, so that's all well and good there. This will be probably a window as well, and this will be a door. And that way we're able to walk in behind it, see what's going on. Make this doorway straight though. Alright, looking good. So then in at the back, whenever I have windows facing out, I always use the hex windows, because it looks more like, to me anyway, that they're more like structural windows, because they have that steel framing inside of them. So we'll just do that as well. So I usually like to have just a gap between them. It doesn't have to be an even gap all the time, but usually that can look good. So this could be... No, leave it like that. Alright, let's just grab these. Pave all the way up. Just let the little light into the room. We could just fly upstairs really quickly. Oh, there is power here. Good. Now we could just expand the roof out or something like that, but I think I'll leave it, because like I said, this room might expand a bit further, so I won't bore you with just, you know, adding the additional roof on. But that's obviously what's going to happen at some point. Or this room might come out and like have its wall join on there. I'm not too sure. I'll play around with it. Okay, so that is the kind of oil room done, as it were, right? The room that's just going to hold these pipes. One very last thing, I suppose, would be maybe we could get the modern railing to go around in here as well, just so nobody falls down. And then we could paint this the black and gold trim. I'm going with the gold and black trim. Sometimes I invert it, depends where I'm at in the factory, and it depends what it's touching or clashing with. Alrighty, I feel like this could be a little door as well. Why not? There. Nice and clean. Now, I said there was a problem with power earlier, and that is actually the fact that I'm pretty sure that these refineries are hooked up to their own power network, because I severed a cable. I think it's the one I'm looking at. Yeah, it's this one, because it's only at 1 out of 4. So let's just attach it to everything else. Gotta be careful not to hit the lighting cables, though. You don't need to worry about that. But basically, there's a second row of cables on the roof somewhere that effectively connect into the lights, and they don't have true power, so you don't want to be messing up your cables. Anyway, that should hook us all up now, I think. Alright, so we'll just run down here, just quickly check the power on one of these poles. Yeah, so that jump there is where I made the connection. So we went from, well, it doesn't really matter what we went from, but our max consumption of right now of everything is 17,500, and our production is actually 17,500, so it's really good. Now our consumption is only 8,000 to 9,000. It's kind of crazy how much of the factories I built are offline right now, and also the lighting comes on at night, and that's about 500 or something as well, I think. Okay, so what's next? So the next thing is the overclocking. Let's just toggle that off. So that's the oil room done. The oil is now being divided up between all of these machines. They will stop flowing though, because they're going to be basically like backed up with stuff. So just to be, again, kind of temporary. I think this, unfortunately, these mergers are going to have to rotate 180 degrees, but for now we can just sink this polymer resin just to keep the buildings flowing, and then later on I'll find a destination for the polymer resin. The plan is to turn it into rubber. But we don't actually need to for quite a while. So I'll just really uglily, if that's a word, in a really ugly way, just let that get sunk in here. So you go up here, and you just connect in here. And there we go. So now we are disposing of the polymer resin. Now we have to sort out the pipes as well, but we need to do that after I do the overclocking. So this is going to take quite a while. Effectively, what I've gone ahead and done is search the map, scour the map for lots of slugs. I actually have some in my inventory right now. I've got 180 power shards. And the way I did it, I mean, you can obviously just load into Satisfactory Calculator. That's what a lot of people do, that website. But I like to actually use the stuff in-game. So I've built radar towers, and you can see how many hard drives, how many of all sorts of things are there, including the slugs. So I just like to take out the little beeper, have a look around, see where there's any near me, and then they usually are within range of each other, so you can find them pretty quickly. Now I found, if I just declutter this map really quickly, I found that going around Pink Forest, in particular, has a crazy amount of higher level slugs. Slugs are broken into 3 levels. A blue one just gives you 1 power shard, a pink one gives you 5, and a yellow one gives you 2. I think that's the way it is. There was a tremendous amount of pink ones, and yellow ones especially, in Pink Forest. So I highly recommend going there if you're just desperate to get some really quickly. You can also farm them with lizard doggos, apparently. I've never done that ever before, but people have said that you can do that. So on a stream, I basically just ran around here, and if you run around like the spires and stuff, you know, places where the architecture or the terrain looks really weird and interesting, that's typically where they are. So, and caves. There's lots in caves. So got a bunch of them and refined them down, have more to go, and then basically what we need to do now is plug them into every single machine. And I'm going to do that just like so. 1, 2, 3. We're going to go from 150 megawatts all the way up to 375, and then instead of 12 fuel, it's going to be consuming 30. And then I'm going to power the machine off because I want them to fill with fuel, because we're not going to be able to handle it straight away until I sort out the pipe. So this is going to take me a little while to do. You cannot copy and paste the settings of a fuel generator unlike a regular machine, so I have to manually put these in every single time. And I just totally forgot you could do this in the last episode, which is why I didn't do it, or didn't even think of it until right after. Pretty much as soon as I uploaded it, I was like, wait a second. I was like listening back to myself, and I was like, why don't you just overclock them? Which is basically what I'm going to do. So I've just also forgot there. I need to turn these all off. So bonk, bonk, and bonk. And we can handle the power falling for a while. Excuse me, no big problem. And then we got to work out the amounts. I guess I'll work out the amounts right after I do this. So I'll be back in a moment. Alrighty, there we go. Man, it's gone really quiet now. So I've turned all of my power generators off, but stacked them with 3 power shards each. So power is getting a little close to each other. Batteries might have to kick in soon. Especially since I think what's actually happening right now is the aluminum factory is backed up because I told it to stop sinking things. Just temporarily. Don't worry about why. And I think that's actually saving me a lot of power right now. Anyway, so that is the overclocking aspect done. It was really tedious. The next thing is pipe management. So, every group here, this is where it gets kind of tricky and weird. We have 400 coming out of every individual pipe, but if we get 60, so each fuel generator consumes 30 now, 30 fuel. So we'll just simply do 600 divided by 30, it's 20. So we'll have to parse 20 machines to having the first batch and then the next batch of fuel over. So I'm just trying to think where the best place is to do that. So maybe first one's here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh god, it's so far up actually. It's hard to even count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's where the 10 mark is. Okay. So that can be cut. So that's number 10. If that's number 10, that's number 20 on this pipe route. Yeah, okay. So let's feed this one first and get power back online. So, yep, that'll be 20 machines. Does it have a Mark II pipe, actually? It looks like it's a Mark I. Oh, yeah, it needs a Mark II now, doesn't it? Okay, right, we'll have to do that as well. And that might have to change where this is going to go in. So, let me just hop down here. This might be needed to tuck further into the wall, just similar to how we did earlier, just to give space for the other pipes to kind of move by. Don't think there's going to be that many, though, so we can just do it this way. Doesn't have to go all the way over. Okay. Yeah, and this isn't going to exist anymore either. Alright, conveniently... Nope. I was going to say conveniently it's already tucked into the edge, but it's not. Alright, something like this, I think. So chop that away. Just get these to connect to each other first. And that can go all the way down there. I don't think it can quite reach, so we'll just tell it to stop about here. Alright, that'll be a pipeline of 600. And that'll need to connect in here. Cool. And then I just have to make sure... Oh, I can almost hear that. I feel like the liquid might be sloshing backwards. So let's just do this temporarily, just to lock it, to keep it going forward. Alright, so... This needs to be upgraded to a Mark II pipe. Just in the central band. The other bits only take 30, so that's fine. But the central one definitely needs it. Until we find the cuts. There we go. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Alright, making progress. So that I'll color this later as well. So that's the first 20 machines. So we should already see a significant gain, because these same 20 are just now going to be overclocked. Which probably account for more than the original 50. Okay, let's just follow the pipeline all the way back to the source. I can cut this one now. Right, so this is where things are going to start getting a little messy. Right, so off this line is 400, off this line is 400 as well. So obviously they need to merge and then join their little buddies down there. So let's just make sure it's lined up, and then it has to be in the center. Okay, so that just means, I think very simply actually, we could just do this. So that'll be 400 going this way, 400 connecting into its friend, and then the two connect to each other. But that'll be a split. Splitting 400, so 200 is going to go that way. So I can actually even just change this to a Mark I. And then this will be 600 in total by the end, going all the way down. Alright, so that should be a pipe of 600, and that gives us an excess of 200 coming off the left side if we wanted to, or even the front here, right? So this has an excess of 200, should we want to get rid of it somewhere and send it. It has to go over and merge into the other 400, so that's what it'll have to do. Alright, sounds good. So that should actually be working even now, or filling up, right? These can now be all turned back online. Some of them are just full, but some of them are actually off. The bottom 5, I think. Yeah, 1, 2. And they'll receive their oil now. There we go. The oil is flooding in. The fuel will start flooding out yet again along these pipes. Now the pipe won't be able to handle it initially. I'm gonna have to move this, probably just up on top somewhere. Just wherever, just so I can keep the bottom clear. Is there no room for this? Floor is too steep. What are you talking about? I love how it doesn't mind being like jammed in there, but it's like over here. Floor is too steep. Alright, pop it there. Give me that Mark IV belt, please, or Mark V even. Can't find it on my... There we go. Alright, just temporarily hook this up as well to the ceiling somewhere. So they have to obviously be moved, and the polymer I feel like is actually going to flow out that way in the future because it's got nowhere to go over here. I mean, I could probably send it along or send it up somewhere, but it's fine. Okay, so there goes that polymer resin. So this pipe has 200, or if we do grab it, it'll be 200 coming off of it. Also, I might get rid of these. They looked cool, you know, to kind of house the stairs. But unfortunately, you need a ramp of 8 meters in order to be able to do it. It's the only one that's angled high enough to be able to actually do it. Don't think the ramp before... Yeah, it kind of comes out too far. So this is the only one that matches the stairs, but unfortunately it means that it has to go below below ground, and you wouldn't even notice. It would look great, but yeah, I could have to probably get rid of it. Anyways, so we needed that fuel line to merge into one of these fuel lines, basically. So just trying to think, if that comes out down here, is that a problem? No, not really, right? I don't think so. Okay, let's just hack away at the floor, hack away at the wall. It needs to come down another layer, and it can just do that here, I think. So this would be 400 joining into the other. Yeah. Now that needs to be a Mark II. Alright, just bring this all the way. Now I don't want to hook it straight in. I want that 200 to kind of come out on its own first. So it is interesting to see. Is this at an angle? I think that is at an angle, actually, which is a bit of a mistake. Sorry. It's really hard to see because the reflection. But I feel like this is over a little bit, and that goes to the left. Yeah, it just needs to come in just a little bit. So hang on, I have to redo that bit. Damn it. Otherwise, they won't fit together, so it has to be done. Alright, it's just the same thing again. Mark 1 pipe, connect the two. Mark 2, connect that. Connect this. And that goes back in to where its buddy is. Alright, cool. So this one now has the room to kind of get out. Right, so what I'm going to do is create another junction, but probably like around here. And then this can join into there. A little awkward because it has to bend, but whatever. And then this is ready to go straight out. So that'll be 600. And the 600 will just travel along and meet up with its friend down here. There we go. Alright. So just to re-explain that, just in case it was a bit messy, which it definitely is. I suppose I could make this less messy. I don't really like the curved pipe. I mean, it's not a big deal, obviously. We've got it in other places, but we could maybe negate it slightly. Let me just see. If I brought this back to about here, the problem then is that this would need to go into there. Okay, I can bring it back even further then. Right, so it needs to come forward 1. Yep. Still doesn't look quite right. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. Okay, let me just do it from this angle. Yeah, there you go. That'll be it, right? Okay. So if that's going there, then this needs to go here, which is where I thought I had it. Yeah, whatever. Okay. As good as I can get it. Alright, so this then needs to connect into there. And then finally, you go into you. Alright, we'll look at that from the top just to reevaluate that. So, 400 coming along, merging with, so well, let's do it this way. 400 splits. 2 goes that way, 2 goes this way. The 2 goes into this, which merges with 400, out goes 600. The other split of 200 is then merging into another 400, and then we now have 2 pipes of 600 going that way. So just to clean it up, I'd like to just color it really quickly. So we've got this selected already. People often say, hey, why don't you just hotbar it, right? This is hotbarred. The problem is I don't like using any of these swatches. I know it's weird. I could have 100 of these, but the very fact that they change like this, let's say I was like, okay, that's that one. If I then later down the line, at some point in my life, decide that, oh, this is going to change now to be, I don't know, red. It changes everything that I painted with it to be red. So I just don't like using them because I'll forget what I wanted them to do, or I don't know. It just means that you can never really change them. Whereas the custom one, I just use custom wherever, and that way nothing else can ever affect it. Once it's painted once, it's done. So I wish I had like 20 custom slots as a color palette. And then I would just assign them to my hotbar, and I would just use different color palettes. Now, I know, trust me, I know that I largely only use the same colors, so it's definitely something wrong in my head. I'm not completely stupid, but I am brain broken in terms of like using it properly, because I just can't accept the fact that one day I might mess with the color and change it forever. So that's just the way it is. So now I'm always just going to pull up the thing to change the colors when I want to. So there you go. It's just at least I give you a reason for why I do it that way. Okay, so let's just color these, and that should be that, basically. Alright, so that's 2 fuel lines, both doing 600 each, and we're going to have a big excess then to do something else with in a moment. So let's just grab this one, bring it all the way down. Pretty much to here as well. Get this one to come out this way. And this is going to join on to here to do the next 20 machines. And then we're going to have to grab that and upgrade. So that's there. But I'm going to have to just quickly fly up and see how many we've done. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 9, and... well, hang on. Okay, well, it is much further than I keep thinking. So just cut that. Upgrade the rest of these pipes. Alright, cool. Alright, pipe management, eh? So those pipes are all hooked up now, and they're getting their fuel. So we can just turn all this on now, but I'll just paint it really quickly. Just waiting for the autosave now here in a second. I really need to increase the time of the autosave. It feels like it just happens way too quick. But it's probably just that time just gets eroded in this game. That's really the situation. Alright, we can get rid of that now as well. Cool. Let's check the pipe. So the pipe is full of fuel. Excellent. Alright, we can start turning this back on now then. So, click. And we'll just have to do this 40 times over, basically. Just turn all these on. So we'll see how much we're producing now. So this will be 40 machines working, right? We still have some more fuel left to go at the back that we'll add on. From the final machine. And then if we could hook up that extra 3 refineries, that'd be good as well in the future. Alright, so I've just turned on all 40 machines. We've just crested over 25,000 megawatts. So we were previously at 17,000, and 17.5 really. And I haven't actually even powered all the rest of them on yet. So we have just one little last bit of pipe division left to go in order to sort these last ones out. So the pipes can actually travel down along this way now. And get fed in from the opposite end to the final groups of machines. So I just want to work this out though really quickly. We have 3, 6, 9. There's 12 machines not powered right now. 12. And the amount of refineries that aren't going anywhere is 10, right? Yeah. So let's just, well, that's a consumption. Obviously, we're producing 400 fuel on this row of 10. So 12 times 30. So 360. So we actually have more fuel than we even need for the 12 machines. We are producing 400. We're going to be consuming 360. So let's just hop down here really quickly. That's fine. I'll color the trim later. So this is the last 400 that needs to go off and go somewhere, you know, down this way, I guess. And arguably, yeah, just feed out below. Huh. Oh, I didn't put the metal sheeting on this. I'll think about why that is in future. Anyway, I have to go look around and see stuff. Not that it matters too much. Alright, cool. So sometimes what I do with these actually is I make little doorways and little entrances so we can get in and out whenever we need to. Alright, nice. So, give me your pipe, and We'll just drag it along an even way, but facing out the other side. 2. Oof. It was on noodle. That's better. Horizontal to vertical. Harsh edges. Harsh right angle turns, please. Now, am I being silly? How silly am I being? Oh, yeah. I am being silly, kind of. Eventually, along here, I think I hit grass, which is why there is foundations here. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, what I could do is do something like... Let me just put the pipe down. I might actually break my rule about being able to get to everything, kind of. Well, I can still get to everything, really, but it'll be embedded in a block, sort of. Now, if I move this out to the left... Oh, I know what I could do. I could use a half foundation. That'll largely clear that problem. So we'll do half foundation, grip metal, block of 2. I'll have to start it somewhere like here. The one at the end can be blocked in as well. So, let's get rid of these 2 bits. We'll bring this all the way out to the very edge. And just let it, whoa, let it travel along like this. Alright, that kind of solves that issue. So, this will need to be divided up between all of these pretty much evenly. Oh, I say all these. I guess, yeah, it's already been divided up. Nice, so it's only had to be divided twice more. Alright, just hook those up together. And there we go. So that should be fuel flowing along now. So I'll just turn those to Mark 1. Because it's 400 being divided twice. Yes, that's fine. Alright, cool. Last thing then, just give these a little bit of color. And that should be it. We can say we're finally done. This took way longer than I thought. But some of it, I'm hoping, obviously, will be sped up for you guys. There's only one way to get rid of this, and we use ramps to do so. This is totally fine. Yeah? I think that's fine. And then what do we need? The corner, I guess, just to make it look a little nicer on the edge. Just turn this all to metal. It's messing with my head when it's different stuff. So they're inverted corners. Where do I just get regular corners? Up corner? Is that right? It kind of looks right. But there's like a gap here. I don't know. I'll look around myself later. But yeah, that's good enough. Now, I never walk under here anyway, so it's fine. It's just mostly... We walk on top, obviously, so it's okay. But it is just like that idea that I don't like anything to be completely encapsulated or buried in stuff. There's gas seeping through here as well. Yeah, you really don't want to be down here. People also asked, why not turbo fuel? Just because it's such more effort having to get extra sulfur, more compact coal. I think for now I can just leave it at just being regular fuel. But I would love to do more turbo fuel. Turbo fuel is my fave. You get so much out of it. Whoa. Alright, almost done. So just the last few machines need to be powered on, and then we can say that we have expanded fuel and power for hopefully quite a while. And this is the end of the blue... Well, it's pretty much the end of the cycle of the blue crater oil run, right? This is where it goes. And it's finally getting consumed and being converted into power. So It took basically the crux of 3 episodes to get it all done, and so much more in between. There you go. We are now climbing nicely up to a healthy, very close to about 30,000 megawatts of power. So what's that? 30 gigawatts, right? Something like that. And I think it's all on. I'll inspect it afterwards, but pretty sure that's it. So we'll just hop up here really quickly. All the polymer resin is flowing out. So that's 1,200 polymer resin that we can turn into, what I'm hoping to do is turn it into rubber. So if we go to rubber and the recipe, yeah, so it takes 40 per minute, and mix it with water and you get rubber residue. So yeah, that'd be nice. A residual rubber, I think it's called. So that's what we'll do. So we just need to find a place to get rid of the awesome sinks and a place to kind of store the polymer resin. And I'm actually going to be using rubber in the next recipe anyway, so it's all very relevant. Alright, cool. Great. Did it, Mom. So let's just take a quick overview one last time of what's happening. And then we'll move out of this place and we can tick that off the box. So, we've just built the oil holding room, as it were. So the train station upstairs drops off 13 freight cars worth of oil, 2,550 per minute. 4 of the pipes are doing 600, 1 is doing 150. We're not using the 150 pipe right now. Those pipes travel underneath. They go into their respective 10 machines each. So we take 60 oil per machine, so 10 machines, 600. So there's 600 refineries there taking their batch. Another 600 here along this way, so we can just about see it underneath there. We've now supplied this additional area here and this additional area here at the back, so that's all done. That leaves us with just the 150 pipe to do something else with, and really I'll probably just add 3 more refineries, tack them on somewhere here in the end. So these should all get up to 100% running eventually. They're obviously just really full of fuel right now, but everything should be consumed nice and evenly. We shouldn't see any drops. I'm hoping not, because we're actually producing more than we need. So it should be good. Should be nice and consistent. The only rising and falling will be from the geothermal generators. But other than that, yeah, we should see it really... no jagged lines, anyway. Just smooth arcs up and down. Alright, so that is pipe management done. So the next phase is going to be for location scouting. So we're going to get driving north, and I'll explain what I'm planning on doing next. And it's an oscillator and AI factory, so we'll just hop up here. And obviously, I'll keep, whenever I have the time, building onto this to make it look a bit nicer. Someone suggested when I was streaming, actually, to make it kind of look like a supported bridge on either side, so I'm just kind of playing around with that idea right now. Looks good. Yeah, that's what we should start to see, actually, more often now. Really, when this train is going back, it should be basically empty. That's the first time we're ever seeing it use other little patches. It's strange that it's only using those patches, though, so I'll just try to look into this and make sure it's okay. It's obviously just unloaded now, so it's got 2,000 in it. Probably in each carriage. Alright, so there's a truck waiting for me, I think somewhere out here. Yeah, just over there. So we'll just hop over to that. I think I've got everything I need. And I'll start driving and explaining what I'm planning to do. I've actually got a whole Excel sheet. You know it's getting serious when you're breaking out the Excel. And so what's in this? Lots of stuff. Alright, let's go. So, I'm here. That oil, by the way, has been coming from all the way down here. So it travels all along the map up to here. So we'll just make our way, at least really quickly, to the aluminum factory that I've built, which is just a little bit further north. Basically just over there. If we just follow the train line, it'll take us there. If you broadly remember, at the oil processing plant, or terminal, we take in a bunch of different things. You know, we take in the compact coal to help make the turbo fuel and a few other things. And I think I ship out plastic. Now, I've got rubber. Rubber gets made there. And the train station's in position, and it's all hooked up logistically to have rubber inside of it. And it has it. We just don't yet have a train come by and pick it up and bring it anywhere, because I've never needed it anywhere. But I'm going to need it somewhere now. Anyway, just really quickly, I'm just going to hop inside the aluminum factory here before we get moving further and power on. I mean, it looks like it is powered on. It must be if the silicon's flowing. Still never built out that storage area yet. Still got to do that. Yeah, it looks like the awesome sinks are on, which means it is emptying out. In fact, this is completely empty. So we could turn that one off. This one never empties because it can't. It's making more than one belt can get rid of. But a way that we can fix that is just change this, grab this belt, grab that, and hook it up to there. I can also just take some of this for myself. Oh, that's casing. I don't really need casing. I need alclad for belts. And then I'll just turn this awesome sink back on, actually. Alright, so the awesome sink is back on. I've just redirected the belt to now send some of the casing into 2 awesome sinks. And how much do we have in here? Nearly 300 coupons. Goddamn. Lots of... I've got loads of animal remains from all my excursions that I haven't been using yet either. Yeah, this place is working nicely. Okay, cool. Let's just keep moving. I thought there was more to do here, but I guess not. There's actually a nice little flat patch of terrain right there. This place is awesome, by the way. I'd never seen it before. I think in a playthrough of mine a long time ago, I'd only ever gotten to like tier 4 or something. I started in, I think, Rocky Desert, which is just beyond here. So I think this is like a whole new biome and stuff, and it looks incredible. Don't know how well it's going to come across in like, you know, YouTube compression and stuff, but look at it now. Just slow down a little bit driving through. I just think it looks so great. It's very lush. There's another truck just up ahead somewhere as well that I've left here. Yeah. Right there. So, just gonna hop out now real quick. I'll leave this stuff here. So this just full of like concrete and steel and rubber and industrial beams, that sort of thing. I need to actually start harvesting some of these materials, but I'll just get up to where the radar tower is, which is just around this way. I think it's nice to, every now and then, just go quiet. Soak in the scenery, you know? You can get bogged down in the numbers looking at pipes for 40 minutes. Or you can enjoy some of the nature that you're about to destroy. Alright, let me take these guys out if they end up following me. Oh, look at this. We got another thing. Just tuck it in here. Don't want to destroy the trees necessarily. Feel bad. Took his little friend out. And this will give me a whole new set of shards that I need then for this factory. Actually, I don't actually think I'm going to be doing any overclocking. Oh. Alright, GG. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have arrived on site of where we're going to be building the next factory, the Crystal Oscillator Factory. So, I actually was explaining a lot on the kind of drive up here, and I felt like probably wasn't the best way of explaining things, you know, driving around trying to look where you're going and stuff. So, what I'm going to do is give you a crash course on what the plan is for this factory. That gives you guys loads of time to tell me where I'm going to be going wrong with it or give me new ideas. So, just to orientate ourselves really quickly, we're up here in the northern part of the map, pretty much central north of the map, maybe slightly to the west. If you want to get the exact coordinates, they're obviously on screen up in the top right now. -680, -132, at 1362. And that's where our radar tower is. And this is where we found a confluence of really interesting resources. Raw quartz, limestone, copper, coal, sulfur, a geyser, and deuterium ore all in one radar tower's range. Like really, really close. Even within that, probably within half that range. Really close by to each other. And what we're going to be making is insulated crystal oscillator. So it's a alternate recipe. Insulated crystal oscillator taking in AI limiters, rubber, and quartz crystal, making 1.875 per minute. So the reason for this is because we want to use radio control units. We need that for the next milestone. And I'm probably going to use one of these recipes. Well, obviously I have to use one of these recipes. I was going to say probably going to use the alternate recipe unless you guys really think it's not a great idea. So just to recap, I right now produce 400 rubber in excess. That doesn't go anywhere. So this requires rubber, this recipe. Normally I'm always like, ooh, anything that requires like, you know, oil as a foundation resource isn't really ever something I want to use because it's very finite and you want to use it for power as much as you can. But I'm going to be making the rubber from the polymer resin that we have. So I already make 400 from polymer resin. We've got an additional 1200 coming out right now. So if I just have a look at the rubber recipe, this is going to require 40 per minute and produce 20 per minute from it. So yeah, I mean, so we get 1200 divided by 40 means 30. 30 times 20, we'll be getting another 600. So I'll have 1,000 rubber coming up to this location to help make the crystal oscillators and then to also make the radio control unit. So if we just work backwards, radio control unit's going to take oscillators, circuit boards. Remember, we've got Circuit City with just tons of circuit boards just still building up. I do say tons. It actually might only be, it says 15 per minute. It might only be about 40 per minute, whereas we do actually make a bunch of computers. I think I make 5 computers per minute, so maybe this one would be better. I don't know. I'll have to actually think about that in between and check what that factory exactly makes. Either way though, if I was going with this one, we have the rubber, we have the aluminum casing, right? We just saw we've got 1,500 aluminum casing per minute just about being made. And then we need crystal oscillators. This is where the whole thing kind of came from. So I've got an Excel sheet on my right screen right now where I kind of worked back from what does one oscillator take, and then I just scaled it back and back and back all the way to the foundational ingredients. And by the way, no more building in the rest of this episode. I'm just going to be talking about what I'm going to be doing next. Okay, so some people say, oh, you waffle on too much. Well, this one takes a lot of explaining, and I want to hear people's feedback. So the next episode, we'll be building all this. But very quickly, just to end, really bring the episode to a close with what I'm going to be doing with it. The quartz crystal, rubber, and AI limiters need to be made. So to get an AI limiter, we need copper sheets and quick wire. To get the copper sheets and quick wire, we obviously need copper ingots and deuterium. Now, that's all nearby, which is great. But the reason I wanted to just mention it very quickly here was if we have a look at copper ingots, I do have the alternate recipe to use refineries, to use water, mix it with the ore, and get way more out of the ore per minute. So from 15 ore per minute, we get 37.5 copper ingots. Huge. Absolutely massive. What I'm kind of aiming for, and let me just actually tab out really quickly, is about 15 oscillators per minute. So if we just have a, whoa, almost jumped off the cliff there. If we have a look really quickly, 1.875 times 15. 80, there we go. Yeah, so that's the number I was looking for. Sorry. So 15 divided by 1.875. So 15 per minute. All of them are doing 1.875 means I need 8 manufacturers, right? And that's the target output I'm going for. I could definitely do more, but I think that's a pretty good number because I might need ingredients for different things. But I don't know if I'll ever need 15 oscillators per minute. You guys let me know if you think I will. But just to really quickly go back to the radio control unit, it needs 1.5 per minute in this recipe, or 1.25 per minute in this one. So I can obviously do like 10 of them, you know, at least, if we really had to. So, and they're all manufacturers, so it takes a lot of power, which is why we've just done power to the extent we have. Anyways, so having a look again at the deuterium and the copper. The deuterium ingot, I also have an alternate for that. Mixing water with deuterium ore means we get half of the ore out, so it's a 1 to 0.5 ratio, or a 2 to 1 ratio if you want to think of it that way. So 2 ore goes in, 1 ingot comes out. With this one, it's a 3 to 1, so we definitely get way more bang for our buck with this recipe right here. So we're going to be using that. Of course, we have a huge body of water right below us, so that's where we can get all this water from. Now, entering all these numbers into my Excel document, like I said, I know there is Satisfactory calculator, but I find it fun just laying it out myself. It's going to require 430 water. It's not that much, so it's really not that much. But the one complicated thing I'll have to do is set up a railway to deliver the rubber up here. Now, it's already hooked up to railway and to the railway network. I just don't have a train coming here. Obviously, I don't have a train station here or anything like that, so that's the one thing that's going to take me a while in between episodes, which is why, unfortunately, I cannot build this for you right now. But I'm going to be doing it over the next few days, and then once we're ready to start recording again as we build the actual factory, then I can. And I think that's basically it. So that's the plan, right? So the plan, so that's location scouting done. You know, I definitely want to be building in this area. As to the specifics of how I'm going to build, Not sure. I'd like to try a little bit differently if I can. People have been saying try build, you know, maybe less symmetrically, build asymmetrically, maybe more interesting designs or curved designs. I think I am going to try something interesting for the crystal oscillator, at least angular. I think would make sense for a crystal oscillator factory. So I'll try to do something a bit more clever with it than just a big box in the middle of an open space. Even though they kind of look okay sometimes too. Alright, that's going to have to be it, guys. For this episode, I'm really looking forward to it. I need your input, you know. Let me know how you think I'm doing this and how I've laid it all out, and if it sounds good. And if so, we'll proceed on ahead. Because often I'll get done doing something in an episode, someone tells me, why didn't you just do this? And I'm like, oh, because I didn't think of it. Alright, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching the video. Consider liking it if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and if you want to support even further, consider becoming a channel member. Channel members get early access to my videos, ad-free, and also access to my Discord, where we've just set up a new Valheim and Satisfactory server for people to play on. Hopefully we can grow a community and add more games and perks in the future. Either way, I appreciate people just watching this far into the video. Thank you.